Hello, I'm Gluck, and today we're going to be rating the D-pads on every controller that I own. I couldn't think of any better ideas for a video topic, so we're doing this now. What better place to start than the NES controller, and it's pretty good. Nothing amazing, but it's okay. Feels a little bit too small and mushy for my liking, but that might just be an issue with my controller specifically. Works well enough for most games. I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10, not too great, not too bad. Super Nintendo controller, now this is where it's at. Absolutely beautiful D-pad on this bad boy. Nice and clicky, rolls really nicely, works amazing. It's the perfect size, slightly bigger than the NES's one, not too big, perfect thumb size. This is going to be our first 10 out of 10. Very well deserved, truly amazing work here. N64. Now I'm pretty sure this is literally the exact same D-pad as a Super Nintendo controller. It looks the same, it feels the same, it should be a 10 but it ain't, because I can think of about 2 games where you need to use this thing. And the way that you naturally hold the controller leaves you absolutely no access to it. The definition of wasted potential, 5 out of 10. The GameCube is one of the best controllers of all time, no doubt, but it doesn't have a D-pad? Oh, never mind, there it is. Jesus Christ, this thing is small. But it feels really nice. It's just a tiny version of the last 2 ones. But that's the problem, it's a tiny version. It's completely unusable. Disappointing. 4 out of 10. Wii Remote D-pad. Gotta be honest, I'm not a big fan of this one. It feels fine, it's just a bit too small. If I'm ever playing a game that requires a D-pad on the Wii, I'm always just going to plug in a Super Nintendo controller because it feels so much better. But it's not too bad, I'll give it like a 7 out of 10. Wii U gamepad. Wii back. This thing is great. Nice and clicky, decently sized, well positioned for easy access and use. Amazing. Nintendo has finally brought back the good D-pads after so very long and easy. 9 out of 10. Switch Joy-Cons. I don't even know if this thing counts as a D-pad. I get that they had to make it function as face buttons, but still, this is gross and disgusting and strange. Not a fan. I almost didn't include this because, look at it, that shouldn't count. 2 out of 10. PlayStation time, hooray! PS1, it's fine, it just doesn't feel all that satisfying to use. It works perfectly fine, but it just kind of feels unresponsive. Really good placement though. I've always liked the PlayStation layout for the controllers quite a bit. Can't give it anything above a 6 out of 10 though. It works well enough, just doesn't feel that great. PS2. It's the same design again, but just kind of feels nicer a little bit. It's ever so slightly nicer to use, but the PS1 and PS2 had pretty much identical controllers. I can even use this thing on the PS1 if I wanted to, that's how similar they were. 6.25 out of 10. PS3, it's the same one as before, but a little bit better, kinda. 6.5. PS4, I actually really like this one, feels great. Kinda mushy, but I prefer it over the other ones just a little bit. 7 out of 10. I don't have a PS5 controller here to show you, but I've used a few of them, and the D-pad is good, but not as good as the PS4. It's like a 6.75 out of 10, I don't know. Xbox time, baby.
Happy Easter, Xbox.
Yeah, starting off with the OG Duke controller. I'm sorry. Does this even count? Look at it, what the fuck even is that? It makes noises like I'm grinding it on sandpaper or something. I can click it down in the middle of it like an analog stick. I shouldn't be able to do that. Absolutely vile. 0 out of 10. The other Xbox One. Slightly better. It actually looks like a D-pad this time, but functionally it still just feels wrong. Kinda icky. Not correct. But good enough that I'll at least give it a 2 out of 10. Xbox 360, the most overrated controller in history, and the D-pad is the same as the last one except worse in most ways. I don't know what it is with Microsoft and D-pads, but they all function like anything but a D-pad. Horrible. 1 out of 10. Xbox Series whatever controller. This one's actually good. Well, that was a surprise. This thing's actually not that bad. It bevels in the way, which is kind of cool, I guess, and it's also really clicky, like louder than my mouse clicking clicky. Jesus. But yeah, this one actually feels okay. like a 7 out of 10. Proud of you, Bill. Keep it up. Oh rats, I almost forgot about Sega. How foolish of me. Master System. It feels like how the controller looks, and that says it all. 3 out of 10. This thing is hot garbo. Mega Drive 3 button. This is just the Xbox 360 D-pad, but it looks and feels a little bit nicer to use. I'll give it a 3 out of 10. Mega Drive 6 button. Pretty much the same thing, but a little bit better. 3.25 out of 10. Sega Saturn. Same thing. Again, but better. 4 out of 10. Dreamcast. Looks good. Looks to get me better than the other ones, but it functions the same and also feels much worse. 2 out of 10. Hooray, and that's every home console I own that has a D-pad on its controller. But we ain't done yet, because it's time for the Bootleg Controller Speed Round. 3, 2, 1, go. This green Bootleg Xbox controller feels trash. 2. This other Xbox one, surprisingly amazing. 7. Wild Things PS1 controller, Jesus Christ. 2. Bootleg PS4 controller, actually pretty okay. 5. Wii U Pro controller ripoff, absolutely amazing. 8.75. It's not a bootleg, but this Xbox drawing tablet thing, it's okay. Wow, what a great video. I put all my effort into this one. Subscribe to the Schmuck Zone. Bye bye!